Direct from Foxborough, Massachusetts, the gem of Norfolk County, and taped at the studios of Foxborough Cable Access. It's Foxborough Central. And here's your host, Bob Hickey.
And welcome to another great episode of Foxborough Central. I am Bob Hickey, your host. So pleased that you took the time to join me and my guests as we talk about the people, events, and organizations that make Foxborough truly the gem of Norfolk County. And on today's special election coverage for Foxborough Town Elections 2014, I'm joined by our current chairman of the Foxborough Board of Selectmen, Mark Sullivan. Mark, how are you doing today?
Morning, Bob.
It feels like it was just yesterday when you were in here giving us the first annual State of the Town address. And I really appreciated your taking the time to do that then, because as we at Foxborough Central know, communication is the key to this program, and being able to have a great understanding of what's going on up at Town Hall makes us all more informed and a little more comfortable with what's going on. So first of all, I just wanted to say thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And now the reason why we're here today is you want to do it again, huh?
I enjoy doing it.
You enjoy doing it. Well, you know what? That's key, because in any good volunteer project, there has to be a reason why we do whatever it is that we do. And if you get some enjoyment out of it, that's butter on top of the bagel, right?
Right. Well, you know, last time we met, we talked about things that we wanted to have happen. A lot of those have already come to fruition. We got a new town manager starting the 22nd of this month.
William
Bill
Keegan from Dedham.
And I actually have a meeting with him this morning right after the show. And I got a very positive vibe that he's going to be really good for this town. And everybody in the town is very, much excited about the same thing. And very much looking forward to it.
Now, this is going to be a problem, and folks at home, you're going to have to bear with me. Normally, when I do an interview with the candidate, we'll do the minute why I want to do this, and then we get into conversation. But my problem is that I've known Mark, and I served with you back when you first became the selectman. We served together on the board, which you used to call your favorite board, but then some other board supplanted it, although I still think our board was the best board you ever served on.
Well, the first board was quite a group,
We made some things happen, didn't we?
That's when the whole Patriots Place thing all came in and came to fruition.
It was a heady time. There was busy. There were many things going on all at once, and a lot of the pieces of that puzzle had to come into place. Plus, we had Chestnut Green. We had, and they were just wrapping up the projects for the infrastructure. And the planning board had done so much work to put these agreements in place and getting the development idea going. And then we also had signage on Route 1 and the water department, a lot of interdepartmental work that had to go on the cooperation, the meetings and the reviews. It was an exercise of municipal work.
Well, it wasn't just one board. If you look back 10 years ago, there was no Patriots Place. The state hospital is still an abandoned state hospital. Yeah. Those were the two biggest things that have come to fruition in the last 10 years. And it was the planning board, it was the Board of Selectmen, conservation, every department, every volunteer board and elected board was involved. The water department, the water and sewer commissioners. And it's not one team, one group, it's the whole team. That's what's happening now with the whole trying to revitalize the downtown. It has a lot to do with the water. If the water doesn't, don't get the sewage hookup, then we're not going to be able to do much. But
and let's talk about that. So we had a big win with the intermunicipal sewer agreement. And we're now owners of the future development plant?
Part owners.
Part owners, right? And we're in partnership with Mansfield and Norton.
Correct.
And how's that going?
It's going well. I actually have the privilege of living next to one of the commissioners, Bob Garber, so he keeps me updated all the time, and he came and gave me some more updates last night. And he's excited about it, and they work hard at it. So there's a couple articles coming forward at town meeting. There's actually, I think, 36 total, or 35 now, because we took a couple out that weren't ready. But, stay tuned and be involved. Come to town meeting and vote. That's the important thing.
Well, and of course, this is election coverage, and the vote is on May 5th. And we know that you'll come out as a registered voter and vote. The over 10,500 of us who are going to do our civic duty and go out and vote for a member of the Board of Selectmen. But Also that night, I will have the honor of interviewing Paul DeFazio, who is the chairman of our advisory committee, to learn more about the upcoming town meeting warrant articles.
Right.
So more news on that later, but it's a huge warrant this time, and I know the selectmen and the planning board have put a number of the articles out there, as has the water. What do you think some of the key warrant articles are, Mr. Chairman?
The one that's most important to me is the Child Safety Committee home rule. They want to have a bylaw in place for the committee to be standing forever. And that's the most important one to me right now, because it's been a long year and a half, coming up on 2 years. We've been working to try and protect the children of this town from things that have happened in the past. And Jimmy DeVellis, as a selectman, took that to the next level. We created a committee. He's been very much involved with that committee. I've been standing on as a chairman. I can't be involved at every committee. Great group of people from the schools. You got Deb Spinelli, Jeff Downs from the rec department, Vicki Lowe from Council on Aging, you got Foxborough detective Tim O'Leary, you've got Bob, I'm trying to remember his last name, I apologize, Bob, and then you got Linda Walsh and Reverend Bill Dudley.
Reverend Dudley, yes.
And what a group. They got together, they had a mission, they accomplished it, and then we already had some training. 2 Fridays ago, 90 coaches came to the high school and were trained by C.J. Neely and John, the basketball Gibbs, the basketball coach, and they did a great job. And they weren't aware that all this was in motion. Because they said, what can we do, as coaches? And Jimmy and I explained what we had done, and that it was very important for everybody to come and vote to support this.
And along with this, and folks I hope have been reading in the Foxborough Reporter about this, but also this is continued, I won't say fallout, but learning and growth from the William Sheehan issues of yesteryear. But much credit goes to the current Board of Selectmen, yourself included, Jim DeVellis, and former Selectman Linda Walsh, and I'm sure the rest of the team, for keeping this in the forefront, particularly Jimmy, for really pushing it. And it's an uncomfortable conversation. It's not something that a lot of people want to talk about, but it has to be talked about. We've hosted the YMCA with the Light to Darkness program here, and our volunteers with Cable Access have also attended. And it's something that we as an entire community need to understand, embrace, and vow never to allow that to happen again, as much as it's within our power. When a trusted teacher and scout leader seemingly was able to fly under the radar for years and years and years, an official with recreation, to make things happen that really can never happen again. So much credit to you and your team for keeping that front and center, and bring it to fruition as far as a standing committee to continually address. So much credit, and I do hope, I'm sure you'll get 100% support at town meeting. It's a very important warrant article.
I hope so.
So with that, and I'm just going to say you look a little tired. When this was filmed on today of taping, this past weekend, the Lakeview Pavilion just had the horrific fire. And it was a total loss of the building and the structure. You were up there. Yeah,
I met James DeVellis up there. I was at my son's basketball game when I got the call at 7:15 from this acting town manager, Bob Cutler. Was in constant communications with Chief Hatfield, who was responding because he was out of town. Deputy Chief Bagley was on scene, and Eddie Noonan was the captain on scene. And they did an outstanding job. First responders got there, and the fire got out of control very quickly. Patty Serpis was the manager on duty that night for a wedding party of around 150 people, and she got them all out. And when I got there, I could not believe what I saw. I mean, to have no injuries and no death in that fire is a miracle.
That's an incredible story of of good fortune and preparedness, I'm sure. But just such a devastating loss to the community. Lakeview Pavilion has been here for over 100 years, and it's family owned, and it's definitely a business that identifies itself with Foxborough, and it's going to be a huge loss if they're not able to come back and rebuild.
I spent some time with the family that night, probably a couple hours. They were very upset. It was very emotional, and they do want to rebuild. And I don't see why this community would not come all out in force to help them rebuild. And then, you start thinking about ideas when they do rebuild, because I will support that, and I hope they do. People that have had, like my nephew was married there.
Yeah.
That was the last wedding I was at there. You have the father-daughter dances
Yep.
there. People that have memories of all that, photographs of that, can come and they can, donate a copy to put in the building, and then, bring it back.
Well, hopefully that time will come, and hopefully the family will make that renewed commitment, because it is a huge undertaking to start all over again.
Yeah, and I went up there on Sunday morning. The fire department was still putting out some hot spots, and they had Mike Marcellus was up there with his excavator. Came in at 1:30 in the morning. They had to knock down walls to keep continuing to put out the fire. And the fire department, I walked around with Bill Casberry, condemned the building, and then I saw the sign on the front foyer, and I said, can we save that for the family? And he said, yeah, can you get it down? I said, I don't have any tools with me. So the fire department took it down for them. So the sign was all there, that original Lakeville. And actually Bill Stedman was there taking pictures of the fire department, take it down. So, these guys they're great people. They care, they're emotional. Public safety personnel, they're a different breed. What they do for this community, and when you call, they come, and there was 5 firefighters on that roof when that fire broke through that roof, and it's a scary thought. They have families, they have children, and it's hard not to get emotional.
Yeah.
And they're friends. They're in our community. We know these guys, and thank God none of them were hurt.
And the tragedy that happened in Boston just a couple weeks back with the errant welding torch that caused the fire in the brownstone in Back Bay brought it front and center as far as how quickly these things can blow up and cause a tragedy. So you're absolutely correct on that. And I think going under the radar here is, I won't say your involvement, but just a gentle observation, if I will, that being a selectman is more than just attending meetings once every other week. Let's talk about what being a selectman means, and what you bring to the table and why you want to do it again. Because frankly, Mark, you've been doing this for a long time, and it is a lot of work. And I know you, and I know you give it your all. So let's talk about why you want to do this again.
I just like helping people. I like helping the people in the community. For the future of our children, I think it's important. And when people need help, give it to them. I came to Foxborough and I met a lot of great people right off the bat, including yourself, your family, all the people in Scouts, the Mitchells, and they were so involved. And it was enjoyable, doing McGinty Fun Day for 8 out of the 10 years, and then Founders Day, and you get involved. And kind of sucks you in.
You know, it really does, doesn't it?
And then, next thing you'll call me, oh, you got that stage I can borrow? And I'm setting that up at Founders Day. And it just went on and on and on, So it's enjoyable, and it's enjoyable working with everybody,
Well, that staging, Cindy and Steve now have that, and who knows? You never know when we're going to do that again. But there have been many projects over the years that we've done.
Working with all the Eagle Scouts for all the dugout enclosures, the handicap ramp.
Also Rosie's Garden.
Rosie's
so many
Garden,
other things that you've become known for as far as helping out. And I remember one story, and you were before we went on the air, you were going to talk about another fire that just happened. But I remember also there was a storm and a hole in a roof, and you went up there in the middle of the night and tarped it. And
it was late afafternoon.
Late afternoon.
And I had help from a friend of mine, Mark Sweeney, because I also had little Johnny with me when that happened. So.
Yeah.
But
But these are the things that, as selectmen, you could kind of go above and beyond the call of duty, because it's not really your role as selectman. I don't even think you do it because you're selectman. I think you do it just because you're who you are. And that's one of the things I hope people get from this program, if from nothing else, but that it's genuine. It's not a It's not a being asked, it's a, oh, there's a need. And that's a key piece of why I think you became selectman. You felt that there was a need, I'm sure. At the time when you first ran, and I remember because I was on the board of selectmen, we were expanding from a board of 3 to a board of 5. And so there were 3 seats up for contention, my seat, and then a 2-year seat and a 1-year seat. And you ran originally for the 1-year seat, you won, and then you ran again, took a break, ran again, and now you're running again.
Yeah.
That's a pretty impressive string.
Well, the 1 year, that was the most fun. You get to really meet everybody involved. Then there was a 3-year, me and Bert and Delaney went up, and we both ran unopposed. But there was a wager on who would get more votes running unopposed. And I kind of put Bert down on that one. Then I took a break after that. And then it's gone so quick, and then this last 3 years have gone by like a blur. Mm-hmm. And I just going to continue doing it. I'm not done yet. There will be a time when I will stop and get more involved with something like discretionary fund, food pantry. I've been doing a lot with that, with the Downs. Has been, helping out with the Thanksgiving and Christmas, deliveries and organization, and that's a pleasure. It's just meeting with these people is just always a pleasure, and you expand and you just want to help more. And yes, we had a horrific fire this weekend, but there was also one last Monday, a week ago today, in the afternoon on North High Street.
Yes.
Number 87, and that was a 3-alarm blaze where a family lost everything they have. And I reached out to the family, went there on Wednesday, and I met Mrs. Misty Orr is her name. Okay. Her sons, Tommy, Nikki, and I'm going to forget one of their names too. There's 3 boys, one's a senior, one's a 6th grader, and one's a veteran who just got home.
Really?
2 tours overseas, and
okay.
I believe Iraq, and they have nothing left. So I reached out to Jack Arthurlet and the discretionary fund, Lisa Downs, and then Jack said, you know what, we need to help these people, and I said yes. And so I met Miss Igo over there, who was now Mrs. Freeman.
Yes, Christine.
And she knew her. She knew her from school. Back in the day, she just knew her from her maiden name. And they sat down for a couple hours, and she went back over the weekend. And they're going to do a story on that because the town needs to reach out. Everybody throws $10, $20, get these kids some clothes. Mm-hmm. They have absolutely nothing. And once you see the pictures that Christine took, you'll see. And Christine, I walked her through the house. She was just could not believe the damage. There was nothing left. And if you ever had to go through that, I wish people would help me, because never mind the emotional part of it. I mean,
well, it's a devastating loss,
picture.
Both emotional as well as just functionally. You lose things like birth certificates and Social Security cards,
right.
and your portfolio and all your credit card receipts and your bills, and just everything just snowballs as to what do I have. And
that's what, it's good you brought that up, because that's what the fire department did for the family that still owns Lakeville Pavilion. They went into the office here and got their records out for them.
That's good.
And the hard drives. These guys are exhausted, been there all night, and they went there and dug that stuff out for the family. And that was, greatly appreciated.
Well, in Foxborough, people who watch this program know that I'm very high on Foxborough, and I do truly mean it when I say that we're the gem of Norfolk County, but many of the successes we have are all built upon the backs of volunteers in the discretionary fund. You mentioned Lisa Downs, and of course, the one before her. Huge pieces of the Foxborough fabric that makes this a great place. So let's talk about you and your re-election campaign. Now, if people want to get a hold of Mark Sullivan, who's our current board chairman and is running again for election to the Board of Selectmen for a 3-year term, they can reach out to you on Facebook. And my understanding is that if they go to Facebook, they can hunt you down by the Re-elect Mark Sullivan for Selectman
Correct.
Tag.
Yeah, I've never had a Facebook till now. I swore I'd never have one.
So I'm the last holdout in Foxborough, huh?
You must be. The people working with me insisted we put it up, and we keep adding to it every day. Mm-hmm. It's pretty simple right now, but it'll advance every day, and by the end of this week it should be a lot more information up there. Right now it's just kind of pictures and history. But
well, the great thing about television is that since we're pre-taping this. By the time people watch it, they can go right into Facebook and they'll
Right.
find everything. So
Right.
they would go to Facebook and check out Re-elect Mark Sullivan for Selectman, and they'll
That's
find
it.
you. And of course, if people want to reach out to you directly, I've never had an issue getting a hold of you. I know how to get a hold of you, but if people want to, they can write you an email at the number one, Mad Dog, and the number 72. 1maddog72 at Comcast.net.
Correct.
Correct.
Yep.
Now, number 72, and for those of you who read the Foxborough Reporter, and I'm sure that is all of you because it is your civic duty to do that, people.
Especially your column.
Well, yes, you should also point out to them that you'll love my column, but you don't have to. I'm not running for anything right now. I would like to point out that number 72 has to do with your motocross career. You are nationally ranked.
Long time ago, Bob.
Well, yeah, you just retired from the geezer division. I understand you were still pretty rocking out there.
Yeah.
But the young geezer, who was just featured in the Foxborough Reporter.
Mad puppy.
Yeah, Mad Puppy. What number does young Seamus have?
71.
71. Very nice. Seamus, Joe. Morgan, your oldest.
She's graduating this year. Joe is playing AAU basketball. I had 4 games with him, and it was so enjoyable this weekend. He's going to be a force for Foxborough. You know, the strange part about it, all the kids he's playing with, he'll be playing against next fall because they're from, Sharon,
Right.
Stoughton, 4 of them from Mansfield, and what a great group of kids.
But that's the beauty of AAU ball because it puts you with a different group. You have a whole different dynamic. And then when you get back with your old teams, you know the people you're playing against, which I think makes it a better game because it makes you know your competitor. And I was just watching a Big East thing on ESPN, and Chris Mullen and Ed Pinkney and John Thompson, the coach, and all the other coaches, and Patrick Ewing talking about how they knew their competition,
Right.
how they were all growing up together and going through the experience. So I think AAU ball has a huge win as far as people who get involved. So good for your son for doing that.
It's the same thing with Seamus. He actually, the competitors he races against, they all hang out together.
Sure.
They
Absolutely.
play football together the day before. They go, all the activities prior to the race, and they really have a good time together. And they get a good bond, And they're all from all over the Northeast. But and if I could bring this up, that's why I can't hold signs on the Common on Saturdays, because my son's racing.
You're doing stuff.
I got my son will be in New Hampshire for the next 2 weekends in a row, and I have to be there with him.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be doing it on like Tuesdays and Thursdays for an hour or two. But
So that's an interesting point. So it's a family commitment that is a balance, and you're able to balance being a selectman and have the family, which is something not everybody can do. So good for you for doing that and understanding the important things.
But yeah, family comes first.
Family comes
it
first.
Has to.
And Morgan, who I had the pleasure of coaching
10 years ago.
in her soccer career, maybe I was the one who drove her away from soccer. I don't know. That's probably why I'm not coaching in soccer anymore. But how's she doing?
She's doing great. She's going to graduate in June 6th, I believe.
Fantastic. And then your little baby,
Little Johnny's
who's not a little baby anymore.
He's 4 and he's running around. He's a handful. He is a handful. So, but it's just a pleasure.
And Marianne.
You know what? She holds it all together.
There you go.
She really does. I couldn't ask more.
Well, Mark, the family is here in Foxborough. We've known you, and we've known a lot of the good volunteer work that you've done. Let's talk about running for office and what you would hope to accomplish over the next 3 years. Because you said you have some stuff you still wanted to do, some unfinished business. Let's talk about some of those things.
I just want to, continue to work with the board and the other boards to, the most important thing right now is the, Darkness to Light Child Safety Committee. I want that to come and be standing and continue to work with that. Another important thing to this community is the Inventus, which is now Snyder.
Yeah, Schneider Electric, yep.
I'm in constant communication with John Ever and Steve, and I want that whole project to go smoothly, continue to bring more jobs to this area. They're talking about even more expansion possibly,
Really?
And it's very exciting.
And of course, you're talking about the recent takeover of Inventus by Schneider Electric, but at the same time, their commitment to continuing with the renovation project, $33 million renovation project for the Neponset Avenue plant. and which we as a town voted tax incremental funding
Correct.
Incentives to support that. And so it's, again, a continuance of the partnership. But with that sort of transition, there's always the risk that that won't actually happen. So it sounds as though you've been involved with keeping lines of communication open and understanding what their needs are. Is there anything that we as a town need to do further, or do you think it's going in the right direction?
It's going in the right direction. The building permit, I believe, has been issued. I know it was pulled.
Okay.
I will be, hopefully, I'm trying to set up a meeting with the new town manager, with John Eva and his team this week. I will actually be introducing Mr. Keegan to the craft organization after the show, and then a couple other meetings today. So Monday's gonna be full of meetings, but it's busy, and I'd be lost for words, but if we didn't have Bob Cutler for this last year, I would have had a very difficult time. It was a difficult time as it was this year, trying to get some issues settled out, but he really stepped up for this community, and I'm indebted to him.
Well, you had a very challenging year as chairman, and you point out that Bob Cutler, who's our acting town manager, who took over when former strong town manager Kevin Pecos left the way he did, and that was certainly something that I would wish on nobody, particularly a volunteer as you are, to have to sort through all that. So yes, Bob Cutler deserves great praise for keeping it all together and keeping things going forward. But with Bill Keegan starting up, when does he start? He's starting
the 22nd.
22nd. So right about when you're watching this, we'll have a new town manager, which will really be a new chapter and able to put some forward thinking as far as town hall management, putting the pins and needles on the wastewater agreements and the regional sewering agreements and the Chestnut Green continued development and Inventus, and having a strong face for us going forward. So great work on the committee and on hiring Mr. Keegan, and it sounds like you don't get a break. You're introducing, taking meetings, volunteering, checking things out, helping people.
It's busy time, but
time.
I'll tell you, Bill Keegan's going to be great for this community.
Well, knowing you the way I do, you're always busy and you're going to keep on being busy. But we have no time left. So I'm going to give you the last word. I'm going to say thanks to my guest, Mark Sullivan, who is our current chairman of the Board of Selectmen, looking for your vote to run again. Remember to come out and vote on May 5th. If you want to get a hold of Mark, check him out on Facebook with Re-elect Mark Sullivan for Selectmen. You can also email him at 1maddog72@comcast.net. That's the number 1, maddog, the number 72@comcast.net. Or you can always call him. I've never not been able to get a hold of him by text or calling him at 508-212-3670. You notice I had to glance down at my paper. I have it plugged into my cell phone, so I don't need to look at that. But it's 508-212-3670. Mark, you get the last word, sir.
If you want me to be a selectman in the future to continue, I'd appreciate it. I love working with everybody in town. I love serving this community, and I'll continue to serve it as long as the people want me to. And once I'm done with being a selectman, I'll move on to other volunteerism. Definitely not going to host a show like this, though. That won't happen.
Oh, there's always good stuff going on here with the volunteers of Foxborough Cable Access. Mark Sullivan, thank you so much for your service.
Thank
and
you.
Good luck with the election coming up.
Thank you.
And I hope I will see all of you folks out at the polls on May 5th and enjoy our election night coverage as well. Check us out at fcatv.org. Until next time, or until we see you at the polls, have a great day, Foxborough.